The rain in Dravara district never stopped. Not clean rain. Rust, ash, and old industrial runoff washed the cracked streets and sagging concrete. Broken rails cut across puddles black as ink, and collapsed towers loomed like forgotten skeletons. Arthur Rohr walked through the ruins like a man trained to ration energy, precise and deliberate, shoulders broad from years of labor, every step measured. He'd once been a colonial surveyor, charting wild territories for the Federation that no longer existed, and now his discipline had only one mission: survive. His days passed in methodical routine. He scavenged for food, fixed his shelter, monitored water purity, patched leaks, small victories in a world undone. Crowds were dangerous, so he avoided them. Violence was unpredictable, desperation lethal. But tonight, a faint, metallic tapping cut through the hiss of rain. It wasn't wind, wasn't machinery. Something alive. Arthur slowed, hand brushing the pry bar at his belt, instincts honed from years of surveying hostile terrain. Behind a leaning pillar, he found her, a girl no older than 8, skin pale violet dulled by hunger, a thin, torn dress clinging to her. She sat with legs drawn up, arms wrapped tight, forehead pressed to her knees. In her hand, a coin tapped rhythmically against stone. Arthur's chest tightened. The scene was raw, impossible to ignore. He crouched, knees creaking, and spoke low. "I'm Arthur. I'm not here to hurt you." The girl, Lair, she whispered, didn't respond at first. But the weight of her malnourishment, the trembling of her limbs, told him she'd been out here for days. He could walk away, another orphan in a ruined city, but his rules were simple: protect the vulnerable when possible, act decisively. He unclipped his canteen and offered it. Hesitant at first, she choked, then sipped properly. "Names matter," he murmured. "You're Lair. I'm taking you inside. There's food, blankets, heat." Her gaze flicked toward the tramway as if danger lurked behind every beam. Arthur wrapped her in his jacket, swallowed by the fabric, and carried her carefully back to his quarters. Every step was calculated: broken glass, ankle-deep water, skeletal rails, but she didn't resist. Her eyes stayed open, alert, a predator waiting for pursuit. Inside, the familiar iron and oil scent greeted them. He set her on the cot. She clutched a small sash stitched with faint chalk markings. Precise stitches, crude code. It was intentional. She hadn't been abandoned recklessly. Someone had prepared her survival. "Who gave you this?" he asked. "My mother," she said. Arthur absorbed it, silent but resolute. Warming broth, cleaning her hands, changing her into a clean shirt. Every movement deliberate, visible, trustworthy. She drank slowly, tested him with every gesture. He spread a blanket over her frame, fingers tight on the sash, a tether to her past. Arthur stayed near the door that night, hand on his pry bar, listening to the pump, the hum of the stove, the soft rhythm of rain. He had gone out for supplies, but fate had dropped a child in his arms, and with her, responsibility. The next 3 days were a careful rhythm. Twice he boiled water each morning, checked rations, cleaned tools, and observed the streets. Lair adapted quickly, learning small signals, asking questions about the pump and bolts, absorbing every lesson. Her mother Serena and Aunt Neri's names emerged in fragments. They'd slept under a collapsed bridge after a market fight, scattered by rain and chaos. Chalk lines, threads of hair in the sash. Every detail was a clue, a plan. And Arthur prepared. If they came, he would be ready. On the third night, the knock came, 3 short, 1 long. Patterns of intention. He whispered, "Stay behind me." And Lair pressed into his side, sash clutched tight. Outside, 2 women appeared, Serena and Neri. Fatigue pale on their violet-toned skin, wet hair plastered, clothing torn and soaked, but alert and unarmed. Serena spoke first, measured. "We are looking for a child. Her name is Lair." Arthur's choice was swift. He slid the chain, opened the door, letting them enter without hesitation. They moved with precision, eyes studying the bolts and bar as though assessing a house as carefully as he did. Relief filled the room silently as Lair stepped forward, holding the sash, and Serena drew her into a tight embrace. hands trembling with intensity. Neri followed, protective and reverent. Tea, towels, and broth followed. Arthur assessed bruises, cuts, grit in hairline, evidence of survival under dire circumstances. He fed them slowly, measured pace, letting trust settle, watching for signs of vulnerability, fear, or sickness. Questions arose, careful and subdued. How they had been separated, how far they had traveled. 2 districts, 10 doors turned away, threats of barter for flesh or medicine. They had come to the right door, and Arthur confirmed it with calm certainty. Rules became the rhythm of the house. Child first, guests next, host last. Tasks were assigned, drying rations, checking cloth, refilling water, but each reinforced trust. Serena and Neri studied him, measured him, but Arthur's discipline and steadiness won their wary respect. Evenings brought conversation, small gestures, but no rush. He was deliberate, letting patterns teach more than words ever could. In quiet moments, questions emerged about trust. Neri brushed his hand, testing him. He didn't pull away. Serena's pride burned, a sharp edge softened only by evidence of his consistency. Discipline became intimacy, steadiness became reassurance. LRA slept safely, and both women observed, tested, and eventually leaned into the care he offered, cautious but willing. The shift was subtle. Serena's vigilance eased, Neri's curiosity blossomed, and Lair began to trust fully. Tasks shared, meals measured, routines unbroken. The house's pulse was one of stability, not chaos. The late evenings by the stove, repairs under warm light, sharing chores. Each moment stitched them together like the sash Lair had clutched from the start. Then, one afternoon, Lair asked quietly, "Are we a family now?" The question hung in the air, fragile. Arthur answered simply, with certainty, "Yes, we are." Ripples of relief and soft smiles spread through them. The word carried no fear, no doubt, only truth. Choice had forged a bond stronger than necessity. Trust had become belonging. Over the following days, life inside the station gained rhythm. Serena moved with quiet dignity. Neri's laughter emerged in small moments, and Lair grew steadier, her cheeks fuller, voice stronger. The routines, meals, chores, teaching survival, built structure. Arthur, once a solitary man surviving ruins, had become the center of a household, a family not formed by accident but by deliberate, careful choices. By the first bright morning after the storm, the district's ruins remained, silent and gray, but inside the station, warmth and laughter filled the corners. Lair played with wooden blocks. Serena and Neri moved confidently around the room, and Arthur observed, hands steady, heart firm. He had built more than shelter. He had built home, security, and connection. The day Lair spent a few hours with a trusted neighbor, Arthur remained with Serena and Neri, quiet but attentive. They moved with ease now, unspoken understanding binding them. The past, the dangers, the abandonment, they were present but no longer rulers. Inside, discipline and care had created a sanctuary, and with it, trust, intimacy, and a choice to stay together. The family had been born, not from survival alone, but from deliberate, unwavering stewardship and the courage to keep the door open. The ruins of Dravara district loomed outside, unchanged. Inside, a home had been built, a bond forged, and 3 breaths mingled with the rhythm of the stove, the hum of the pump, and the quiet certainty that here, at last, they belonged.